They say that 90% of the world's calories come from just for crops corn, wheat, rice, and soya. Dangerous dependency that could crumble with a single drought, a single pest, or a single policy decision. But for millennia, humanity relied on a single, impossible tree, a survival powerhouse so potent, so nutritionally complete, that major agricultural forces have quietly ensured it never reaches your plate. This is the story of the Moringa oleifera, the so-called miracle tree. It's a tree that could solve malnutrition, drought, and perhaps even some of our greatest health crises. It's an ecological and nutritional anomaly, a true vault of nature's lost knowledge. But in a world obsessed with patenting and profit, the most valuable plant on Earth became the most dangerous, and a quiet campaign was launched to bury it in history. This tree wasn't just ignored, it was actively sidelined because it threatened the entire global food machine. When we talk about a superfood, we are usually talking about one or two concentrated benefits: an acai berry for antioxidants or kale for vitamin K. Moringa is different. It is a nutritional Swiss Army knife. The most valuable part of the tree is its leaves. When dried and crushed into a powder, they contain a staggering density of life-sustaining compounds. Consider this comparison straight from the peer-reviewed data. Information that should be shouted from the rooftops, not whispered in obscure journals. 7 times the vitamin C of an orange. 7 times. Think about that for a second. The common orange, the staple of our immune defense, is dwarfed by the leaf of this simple tree. 4 times the vitamin A of carrots, crucial for vision and cellular health. Vitamin A deficiencies plague millions worldwide. 1 spoonful of moringa could wipe that out. 4 times the calcium of milk. The very mineral we are told is exclusive to dairy, packaged and sold as a non-negotiable staple, is abundant and easily absorbed in this plant. 3 times the potassium of a banana, the mineral necessary for heart health and muscle function, a silent killer when deficient. Double the protein of yogurt. Not only that, but it is a complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids, a rarity in the plant kingdom. Often found only in expensive supplements, but the statistics barely scratch the surface of the magic. Modern science has isolated nearly 100 known nutrients, 46 antioxidants, and 36 anti-inflammatory compounds within this single plant. It is a pharmacy, a garden, and a survival store all wrapped into one. In the fields of West Africa and India, it's not a supplement, it's simply food. Every part of the tree is utilized. The leaves for nutrient density, the pods or drumsticks for cooking, the flowers for a sweet tea, and the seeds which hold a truly unbelievable secret we'll get to in a moment. Why do we rely on a complex, expensive global supply chain when this plant, this single tree, can be grown in our own backyard, offering everything we need? The answer, as always, is found not in nature, but in the system built to control it. To understand why this tree was targeted, you have to look beyond the nutritional value and examine its biology. The moringa is an evolutionary masterpiece, a plant designed to thrive in apocalypse-like conditions. Its existence fundamentally undermines the massive, profit-driven infrastructure of modern industrial agriculture, particularly the market for water management and patented seeds. The key to moringa's survival and the source of its danger to the establishment is its taproot system. Most modern cash crops, like corn or soy, are annuals with shallow, fragile root systems. They are entirely dependent on seasonal rainfall and massive centralized irrigation and infrastructure that requires enormous investment in dams, pipes, and energy. The moringa, as a perennial tree, develops a massive, deep, tuberous taproot. This taproot acts as an internal water and nutrient vault, plunging deep into the soil to access water tables that annuals can't even dream of touching. When the temperature hits 120 degrees and the fields around it are dust, the moringa is still actively photosynthesizing, still producing food. This drought resistance doesn't just save water, it completely decentralizes the food supply. When a farmer plants moringa, they are buying an insurance policy against climate change. They are saying to the major agricultural companies, I don't need your drought-resistant seeds. I don't need your expensive irrigation systems. Nature gave me a better solution. Furthermore, the tree is a natural pioneer species, meaning it can grow in marginal, nutrient-poor soil. It thrives where other crops fail, making previously unusable land productive. This directly undercuts the multi-billion-dollar fertilizer industry. Because the very structure of the tree, its leaves, and biomass are constantly cycling organic matter back into the ground, improving soil structure and fertility year after year. It's a closed-loop, self-sustaining system. The global food system is built on dependence. Dependence on fossil fuels for fertilizer, dependence on irrigation, and dependence on proprietary seed lines. Moringa offers independence with. This is called food sovereignty, the right of people to healthy and culturally appropriate food produced through sustainable methods. The Moringa tree is the ultimate weapon for food sovereignty because it empowers the individual farmer, shrinking the role of centralized corporations. In the eyes of a system designed to monetize every input, every seed, every gallon of water, every pound of fertilizer, the moringa is an economic pathogen. It introduces a disruptive element of self-sufficiency that causes an immediate and catastrophic failure in the planned obsolescence of our food supply chain. A tree that can grow food, purify water, and survive climate change on its own is not a marketable product. It is a declaration of independence. And that is why it had to be buried. The war on moringa was not fought with bullets. It was fought with bureaucracy, policy, and paper. It was a sophisticated, decade-spanning campaign of institutional neglect and strategic sabotage designed to ensure this miracle tree remained a localized curiosity rather than a global solution. We traced the deliberate sidelining of moringa back to the mid-20th century, a time when global development aid became a primary tool for geopolitical influence and establishing new markets. In the 1960s and 70s, as the incredible benefits of moringa became clear in early NGO projects, particularly its use in reversing malnutrition in infants, the potential was undeniable. But the major funding decisions were being made by agencies deeply entwined with the interests of large US-based agricultural companies. The strategy was simple: defund and distract. Why fund a project that encourages poor communities to grow a free local tree when you can fund a project that requires them to buy or receive fortified food supplements produced and processed by major international firms? The money shifted dramatically away from indigenous, self-sustaining solutions like moringa gardens toward large-scale food distribution programs based on subsidized U.S. commodities, primarily corn, soy, and wheat. This tactic is known as commodity dependency. By providing free or deeply subsidized foreign crops as aid, two major goals were achieved. A market for U.S. surplus. It provided a guaranteed buyer for surplus crops grown in the American Midwest, keeping prices stable for U.S. farmers. Destruction of local markets. It intentionally depressed the value of local indigenous crops, including moringa. A local farmer simply cannot compete with free food. Why bother planting a tree that takes effort when a bag of cornmeal is handed out for free by an aid organization? This created a generational dependency, systematically destroying the knowledge and practice of native food systems. The USDA and FDA regulations. While moringa itself was never banned outright in the US, regulatory hurdles were strategically employed to limit its commercial viability. For decades, it existed in a regulatory gray zone, making it difficult for legitimate businesses to scale up processing and distribution. This left the market open only to small, expensive health food stores, ensuring the product never achieved the mass market penetration that corn or soy products enjoy. The complexity and cost of compliance became a silent barrier to entry. Perhaps the most effective weapon was the weaponization of science. In the realm of modern medicine and government health recommendations, a food or compound is only validated by double-blind, peer-reviewed, large-scale clinical trials. These trials cost tens of millions of dollars. Who pays for them? Usually, the pharmaceutical company or the food company that stands to profit from the patent. Since moringa cannot be patented, no one had the multi-million-dollar incentive to fund the definitive human clinical trials needed to prove beyond a doubt its effectiveness against diabetes, hypertension, or inflammation. The system was designed to ignore anything that did not promise a massive return on investment, leaving moringa forever trapped in the category of promising folk medicine. Despite thousands of years of traditional use and mountains of small-scale laboratory evidence, The net effect of this quiet campaign was a total erasure from the Western consciousness and a debilitating setback for its use in developing nations. The U.S. government, driven by the powerful lobby of big ag and pharmaceutical interests, effectively ensured that the tree that grows every food remained the unknown garden, keeping humanity dependent on systems designed for profit, not health.